Good morning, everyone, here in the Zendo, and all of you beautiful faces online. My name is Joren, and I'm a senior student here at the Village Zendo. And just want to make a note of Sensei Tokyo's wonderful talk last night about form, and just to say how much I'm appreciating this form of zazen-kai. I haven't been to a zazen-kai in a few cycles, and I'm just really appreciating all of us coming together with such meticulous care and holding this form today. I've just come back from a vacation in California. And it really feels to me like this vacation was a healing experience, as I had hoped. I had just been through months of pressure and hard work where I constantly felt like, okay, what do I have to do next? The vacation was a rest from this long period of moving forward, whether I liked it or not. But after the trip, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can do what I want. And doing what I want aligns with what I want to do, what I need to do. Just a little slower, just a little less compulsive. I'm sure I will not keep feeling such integration for long, and will probably get back to my compartmentalization and task orientation all too soon. But for the moment, I'm feeling a sense of body-mind integration. I felt I could really not have gotten there without going away. And I felt I couldn't have gotten there on my own. I wanted to get away, to return to myself. So my trip was initiated by attendance at a conference, and that conference was followed by 5 days afterwards to spend with a friend who lives in northern Marin County outside of San Francisco. So that is a beautiful part of the world. I really love the vivid light and colors, the lush vegetation, the exciting wide open spaces, the gold hills, and the rough seashore. It's such a breath of fresh air after a busy year of dense urban spaces in the Northeast, where caught up in routines and cycles of work and rest, I planned this trip as an opportunity to be somewhere else, traveling solo, a rare privilege, doing nothing, basking in the vibrant energy of nature, a chance to melt into the landscape, leaving behind my familiar day-to-day and reconnecting with an old friend. Especially because I've never lived in that area, it holds a kind of utopian place in my psyche, and elsewhere a getaway. Being in nature, in the company of my friend, and just letting go. So this old friend is from a photography graduate program from my 20s. We had been collaborators and shared so much as we developed our voices and our work. At some point, though, after that time, she changed course, left New York, and over decades became a Tibetan Buddhist teacher. Being with her was a reconnection with our old selves, my old self, as well as tracing the evolution of our relationship since. It was a love connection. It was a celebration of all the ways we have been and still are connected. There were also a few moments of discord, Some of these moments were when we discussed the world situation. The stark, grinding pain of the current sharp divisions opened up. We encountered that all too familiar feeling of being face to face with, "You are wrong." We argued and felt at odds, but we did get through it. To explore these notions of traveling elsewhere and getting away, wanting to let go, and running into life and death struggles, I want to bring up a koan from the Book of Serenity, Qinglin's Dead Snake. A monk asked Qinglin, "When a student takes a shortcut, then what?" Qinglin said, "A dead snake lies across the great road. I urge you not to step on its head." The monk said, "If one steps on its head, then what?" Qinglin said, "You lose your life." The monk said, "How about when one doesn't confront it?" Qinglin said, "There's nowhere to escape." "At just such a time, then what?" Qinglin said, "It's lost." The monk said, "Where has it gone?" Qinglin said, "The grass is deep. There's no place to look for it." The monk said, "You too should be on guard, teacher." Qinglin clapped and said, "This one's equally poisonous." So this is a kind of an intense poem and kind of mysterious, kind of strange, a little bit inscrutable. The koan starts out with the monk asking about taking a shortcut. The monk wants to go directly there. This monk is enthusiastically seeking realization. I want it now. Already the monk is framing the issue as getting from point A, the student's practice, to point B, getting there. The monk wants a more direct way to go, a shortcut to right now. There's a contradiction here, of course, because a shortcut is a linear concept. Right now is not. The teacher points out a complication. A dead snake lies across the great road. Once you have a goal of getting somewhere on the great road, the complications arise. The student is creating a separation between the road and the one traveling on it. Qinglin's dead snake is both separation as well as the encounter with the true self. The traveler sees the snake as an obstacle, but running into the snake is actually the heart of the matter. The dead snake is yourself. Do you see it as an obstacle in your path? Do you see a difference between the self and the path? Is the dead snake an other in your way? In the way of your happiness? In the way of peace? By asking about a shortcut, the student is both expressing their enthusiasm and also creating a complication, a dead snake. The geometry of this image is striking. The student's conceptualization of the linearity of the great road stretching on into the distance, with the possibility of a shortcut, like alternate routes on a phone's mapping app. And the stiff body of the dead snake lying at a 90-degree angle across the road. There's no getting around it. The only possibility is for the monk to shift their relationship to the snake and to the road itself. Rather than talking about getting from point A to point B, the monk is reminded that it's really about being on the road, the live circuit. the electric shock of being awake, the grappling with the sinewy, swift, poisonous adversary that arises in meeting the moment. There's no time to think in this life and death engagement. In another translation of this koan, Shishin Wick, in the Book of Equanimity, comments on this conversation, paraphrasing Qinglin's words as, already you're creating some kind of a problem. You're turning away from that black jewel at your feet and looking toward that sky that's filled with anxiety. You're creating something where nothing exists. The monk says, so what if I bump into it? What then? You lose your life. What are they talking about? In this case, the dead snake is your true nature. Bump into it and you become alive. What then? When I returned from California, I was basking in the good vibes of my trip. However, I was soon confronted with a dead snake. I had signed up to give a Dharma talk this week. Working on this talk, I'm aware of the subtle shift between being able to stay with the winding process of writing the talk and looking for a shortcut. A neat format to get it done so that I can steer clear of the anxiety I am feeling about giving a talk. The talk is that black jewel at my feet, and I'm looking toward the sky of my remembered anxiety. The templates from childhood, a lifetime of moments when I worried about talking publicly. Maybe I messed up and got self-conscious. Maybe I froze. Maybe I won't truly be able to speak from the heart, but instead I will let language run away with me. Maybe I'll get the koan wrong. Approval, disapproval. Is the snake a dead obstacle or a live wire of energy I can engage with? Despite all my anxiety, giving a talk is an opportunity for connection with myself, and hopefully connection with you. The student and the teacher are both on the same page, using the vivid image of the dead snake to travel in and around ideas of separation and connection. The monk said, if one steps on its head, then what? Qinglin said, you lose your life. The snake is bad, good, likely to sink its fangs in an instant, a dangerous agent of lightning fast change. The snake can come alive at any moment. Its poison just as toxic, alive or dead. Going back to the healing experiences of my vacation, my senses were bathed in the beauty of the place, the scent of flowers, bird calls, good meals we made together, plenty of sleep. We had amazing talks and deep memories of our relationship of 40 years. Coming together through lots of divergent choices and paths. So we were surprised when we bumped up against political discussions that exposed our different views. Even subtle divergences in our views seemed to produce stark differences. Things got heated, distant, even a little angry. In this time of extreme polarization at the local and global level, differences seem to be irreconcilable. Political wars permeating physical wars, legislative wars threatening ourselves, our loved ones, our rights, wars on truth and information and meaning. The stakes are so high, so devastatingly consequential. The stakes are about survival and annihilation, the sense of a crossroads, a collision with profound injustice. But my friend and I had fallen out plenty of times through the years and come back from it later. We were committed to staying connected, taking a breath, allowing differences to stand. We both are committed to working with the alienation that threatens the world, especially now. That is, we accepted the snake and we stayed on the road. The monk's attempts to take a shortcut keep bringing him face to face with trouble, as Qinglin insists repeatedly that there is no way out. The monk is in pain. So what if he avoids stepping on the snake's head? Qinglin says, there's nowhere to escape. Cornered, the monk counters, but Qinglin says, it's lost. Still trying to free himself, the monk says, what can be done? Can't even see the snake or the road anymore, asking where is it gone? Shishinwick's commentary says, Qinglin uses a dead snake to roust out this monk. In the end, after all, it's stuck around his waist, wrapped around his legs. This monk with a dead, alive snake stuck around his waist and wrapped around his legs. This is a little bit how I felt when I planned my escape to California. Well, not exactly poisoned. I felt dead, tired. What is the shortcut? I need a little bit of bliss. What is the quickest way there? The monk has been poisoned and warns the teacher, who claps with delight. The commentary says, the poison permeates heaven and earth. The monk loses his life, loses his way, loses sight of the snake. And finally, he loses his self-clinging. In the process, the monk and the dead snake become alive together. This amazing image of the dead snake across the great road is about wholehearted engagement with both the separate self and the fully alive self. The subtlety of this wholehearted connection is further explored in the verse of the koan. The boatman turns the rudder in the dark. The lone boat turns its bow in the night. Reed flowers, snow on both banks, hazy water, autumn on one river. The power of the wind helps the sailboat go without rowing. The voice of the flute calls the moon down to the land of spring. Another way that I see this koan is that the dead snake is my idea of what my practice should be, or my idea of what others think my practice should be. In the verse, though, the wholehearted practice is the boat just moving and being allowed to move, indirectly guided and drifting. Well, how on earth does the potent, calamitous image of the dead snake lying across the great road reconcile with the images in the verse? The effortless, gentle freedom of the boat, turning and drifting on the water among snowflowers, merging with the banks. If there is nothing in the way, then what? As I'm doing my morning sit in my friend's California backyard, the snowflowers mingle with the snow on the banks. The little white flowers mingle with the herb garden in front of me. The space of the poem is my consciousness at this moment. The little mosquito announces the problem. It might as well have been a snake. I mobilize drastically in self-defense, covering myself with a blanket, everything except my face and my foot. I can't see the mosquito if it lands on my exposed foot and stings me. Well, I can accept that and continue sitting. The dead snake is what is in the way and an invitation to let go of your ideas and be present. As I sit, myself is poised on the edge of approval. Am I waiting for that approval before I take the next breath? The dead snake approves. Go ahead. The dead snake does not approve. Look out. Be careful. Don't be careful. Step on it. Don't step on it. The power of the wind helps the sailboat go without rowing. The voice of the flute calls the moon down to the land of spring. I want to close with these images of the sailboat gliding without rowing, the hazy water merging with the snowy banks, and the serpentine gliding of the snake, so embodied, so intensely alive, pure movement. Thank you.